Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. I hope you're having a great week. We're having a pretty good one so far. The markets are moving surprisingly well, giving us lots of good opportunities, so that's been great. Let's have a quick little look at U.S. markets. You can see that we had another positive day in the Dow and S&P, both up a half to about 0.75%. Pretty good day there. Oil's back on the rise. Of course it is. It's summertime. We're all driving around. And gold has taken a big hit. We're going to look at that in just a moment. Quickly, we've seen a bit of news today. Pending home sales came out, basically blew expectations out of the water completely. Looking for a 1.1%, got a 6.7. So the housing market is really starting to go nuts. This summer looks like it's going to be a crazy one, and there's going to be lots of continued momentum in the housing market. Okay, so to finish the week off, as far as news and so on go, we have just one more announcement that should be a bit of a mover, and that is the Canadian GDP coming out tomorrow, so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, let's get right down to it. I got the pound dollar up here, but let's start on the euro dollar real quick. Euro dollar has continued to move down pretty well over the last couple of days, and then just recently, kind of the last 24 hours, it's really consolidated and started to go sideways. Now, don't take too much out of candlestick patterns and so on here. Just know that this is kind of a bit of consolidation. And a couple of things to mention, first of all, are, number one, that it has continued to kind of just test and kind of touch this pretty strong resistance level now. It was pretty solid support, held the market pretty well for a couple of days, and then we broke through that, and we're starting to test the bottom side of that, basically 130.50, 55 area, and so that's still a good resistance level. I mentioned that yesterday as being a good solid resistance, and I still think it's a good one today, but we just have to kind of keep an eye on things. Ultimately, I'd really like to see 130-100 get hit. You can see we have a missed daily pivot here. That's just about 130-100. We have a missed weekly pivot up here. We've got a missed daily pivot all the way back there. There's a lot of good levels to watch for, but we've got a couple of missed pivot levels that are still going to be interesting ones. And so basically, ideally, what I would really actually love to do is get short around 130-100, have my stops above the weekly high, really not that large, 50, 60 pip stops, and target these lows and beyond. But so far, it looks like 130 is holding fairly well. You can see that 130 is right here, right at that bottom. We peeked through it with this little wick and got all the way down there to about 129.83-ish. But so far, we've been bottoming out pretty well at 130. So even on that side, we may have opportunities to start getting long off these lows, but I'm not looking for those just yet. I think we still have a good chance to short off some of these resistances, namely 130-100 should be a good one. So watch for a break of 130.50 area here and a run into that 130-100, and even towards the weekly highs. We should have opportunities to get short basically against the weekly highs is what I'm looking for at this point. We don't have any super significant candlestick patterns anywhere that are coming to mind. Our larger weekly channel is holding up very nicely. Everything's looking good. The Fed's tapering QE, which is very consistent with the euro ultimately turning and heading down, so that trend should continue for the foreseeable future. And again, we're just kind of getting out of this short-term channel. We'll probably start a little bit of retracement. We'll be watching for some of that, and we're just basically looking to get short on some of these rallies here on the euro dollar. Pound dollar has just continued to break like crazy. So we had this low of the week right here that held for a little bit, broke, we bounced off of it and got short. And we talked about shorting the bounce off this one, but in the process we have created a missed daily pivot right here. And so this is going to be a nice opportunity. The pound dollar, you can see, is holding very nicely in this channel. I even need to extend my lines out here just a little bit. We're holding in that channel very nicely, and I think we will probably continue to hold in that channel for a little bit longer. So I like opportunities of shorting against this 153.50-ish area, taking out this daily pivot right there, bumping into that channel wall, and then getting short and taking this back down. I think the pound dollar has some pretty significant downside movement left in it, so we should be able to get some of that coming up here fairly soon-ish. So really, kind of all I'm looking for is just get a little rally on this pound dollar, get this thing breaking and heading up just a little bit, and when and if we get that, shorting around 153.50-ish area. Okay, so Aussie dollar is looking very interesting. The Aussie dollar is actually looking fantastic. We've got some really great stuff. It's consolidating just below this 38% fib. I wouldn't be surprised if we get one more push up into this 9,400, but honestly, I'm not super expecting it. We have this nice little trend line. The Aussie dollar has pushed down through this very nicely. And is kind of consolidating below that trend line. So basically, I'm still interested. We took this trade yesterday, which was shorting against this high. We got in here, and this thing ran down. We made a nice 70 pip run on it. We talked about doing it again today, which it did. We took this run right here, and then talked about doing it again, which it did once again, and ran down. And it just seems to be holding this 93.50 area really well. So I still think this is a good area to short the Aussie dollar. Probably some things that we should be looking for are daily lows. We have a there we go. We have a current daily low of just above 92.50. We're about 92.50.60 daily low. We've broken this trend line, and I think this thing should be ready to head down. Now, the one threat that I think we still have on this Aussie dollar is, it looks like we're going to end up with a very nice shooting star right here, which is very bearish and good. But we still have a very strong reversal candle. This pin bar right here on the daily chart is holding very well, surprisingly, and still, it's still a threat. So we need to keep an eye out on that. There still is possibilities of this Aussie dollar really taking off and rallying, but it just is seeming less and less likely, I guess. So that's kind of the thing that I'll be watching for there. But breaking this daily low, this 92.60-ish area, below that, trading that break into the lows of the week, I think is a great opportunity. You can see that puts us, 75 pips or so from the high, 80 pips from the high of the week, but it puts us about 115 or 20 pips from the low. So I think the risk to reward is pretty good, and I really do think we're going to have a nice opportunity to come down and at least double bottom on that one. So I'm looking for shorts, around 92.50 or below 93.50 once again. So if we get a move up, I'll be looking again to short against these highs, or we'll be shorting, selling the break of this daily low here, which is sitting at about 92.60-ish area. Okay, all looking good, very good stuff. Euro yen has moved actually very nicely from the low of yesterday, and it's running up there really well. I personally am not seeing any really great opportunities to trade this one just yet. So I'm just not quite there, but we'll be keeping an eye on it. This thing has been very choppy, and it's been running, in all kinds of different directions. So that's going to be one thing to keep an eye on. If this choppiness continues, we have a very nice reversal candle right there that's been holding it very well. If we start to get a trend line break, below this weekly pivot and through that ascending trend line, I think there's going to be a really good opportunity there. So let's just watch for that break, watch for that move. Pound yen, pretty messy as well. Not really doing too much with this one just yet. Aussie yen is pretty interesting. I talked about this yesterday in the break above this 90, 91 kind of 15-ish area, and it has broken, and it seems to be holding a bit. Couple of opportunities there would be, being long above that. And likewise, you can see, let's go back to this 4-hour chart for a moment. You can see here on the slightly longer run as well, is if we do get a break below that 91.13, 91.15 area, we could be breaking this trend line and heading back down into support. So I think that could be a good opportunity also. So just kind of watch this. I think there's, at least initially, there's good reason to believe that this could stay long against this support and against some of these strong reversal candles. There's lots of wicks down here, long wicks, which are definitely favoring movement to the upside. So I think we'll see some of that pan out. Not trading anything on those guys. One quick look at gold. It continues to just head straight down. I've been talking about gold reaching 1,200, and I didn't know it was going to happen 4 hours ago. So this candle took us all the way down to 1,200. You can see we're right at 11.99. I'm projecting, a lower target of about 1050 on gold, about 1,050, and then I think things will start to turn around from there and work their way back up. But I still think, even though gold has dropped as far as it has, there's still some potential for further downside. So just keep an eye on that. Don't start buying this dip just yet. I think gold is still going to, potentially be open to some further downside movement. So anyway, anyways, we have some great trades, some great setups. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at DayTradersFX for more market commentary, and you can also get a free trial for the group at DayTradersFX.com. Thanks a bunch, everyone.